The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Robert Lee Frost was an American poet. He is well known for his realistic writings of rural life and his use of American informal speech. His poems were often set in rural life in New England in the early 20th century. Frost has often been quoted by other people. He was honored often during his lifetime, receiving 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. The Road Not Taken and Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening are two of Frost's most famous poems. Written in the year 1916 in England, The Road Not Taken is one of Frost's most well known poems. It was published as the first poem in the collection Mountain Interval. The poem is about making choices, and all the choices we make shapes our life. Robert Frost's writings are simple yet very insightful. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Once, the poet or the speaker of the poem was walking down the road. The road separated into two directions in a forest full of decomposed, that is, yellow leaves because of autumn season. He feels sorry as it was impossible for him to travel both the roads. The poet says that since he was just one traveler traveling, so he had to choose one out of the two roads. He stood there for long, thinking about which road he should travel. The poet tried to look as far as he could. He could only see the path till the point it curved, as after it he could only see dense growth of plants and bushes. In this stanza, the road is symbolic of life. At every step in life, we have to make choices. We cannot get everything. We have to make decisions from time to time. Talking about the poetic devices used in this stanza, two roads refer to usage of poetic device symbolism. Symbolism is the use of symbols to signify ideas and qualities by giving them symbolic meanings that are different from their literal sense. Here, two roads refer to the choices we make in life. Another poetic device, anaphora, has been used in lines 2, 3, and 4. Anaphora is repetition of word or phrase at the beginning of a sentence. As you can see in lines 2, 3, and 4, the word and has been used at the beginning. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though, as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. The poet kept on looking at one path for a long time. He was deciding if it was the right path for him to walk upon. He then decided to choose the other path or road because he felt that both the paths were equally good or fair. He felt that the other path or road was better, so he chose it because it had grass on it, which meant that it was unused. It was wanted wear. That means it seemed to be not walked by many people. He decided to choose the road less traveled by. But as he walked on the other road, he realized that both the paths were similar and equally worn out. Even in our life, Many a times we have to make a choice. Sometimes our choices turn out to be good, sometimes bad, and sometimes it does not really matter what choices we make, as both are the same. We must never regret any choices made and embrace them with complete ownership. If we talk of poetic devices used in this stanza, then alliteration has been used. As you can see, wanted where. Repetition of consonant sound two or more than two times refers to alliteration. And both that morning equally lay. In leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet, knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. The poet says that both the paths looked equally similar that morning. Both had leaves on them, and no one seemed to have stepped on them as the leaves looked green in color. If someone would have walked over, the leaves would have turned black. The poet says that he kept the first path, that is the one he did not choose, for another day, even though he knew that one path leads to another, and it was very difficult for him to come back one day and take the path he did not choose. Even in our life, once we choose an option, we must keep moving ahead with that option. It is very difficult to undo a decision. We must stick to the decision we made, whether good or bad. We must embrace the happy times and face challenges with determination without giving up. If you see in this stanza, again, alliteration has been used. First, for. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere, ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. The poet says that in future he will take a deep breath and remember about the time when he had to choose a path between the two paths that got separated in a forest full of yellow leaves. He traveled the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference in his life. The choices made in the present shape one's future. The choices we make can lead to a positive or a negative outcome in life. We should embrace all the choices we make. We must be very wise of all the choices we make in life. In this stanza, repetition has been used, ages and ages. Also, dear students, the rhyme scheme of the poem is A B A A B. The main theme of the poem is that human beings are confronted with and defined by the choices they make. Human beings are defined by the choices they face and the choices they make. While we might wish to avoid these choices, there can be little to lessen this burden from us. Our choices must also be that we are content with them. Regardless of what our choices are and whatever our decisions are, they are ours and we must take ownership of the same. The road in the poem is symbolic of life, the journey which requires us to take steps at every point. The poem conveys a strong message. Life is a continuous journey which requires us to make decisions at every step. We cannot get everything in life and have to make choices. Everything is determined by the choices we make. The important thing is to be confident of the choices we make. We must not regret anything in life and keep moving ahead. Try to make wise choices and be confident. I hope you enjoyed listening and understanding to this lovely poem The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost. Thank you.